All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to on this night of suffering. Welcome to hell. Welcome to Wizardry IV: The Return of Wordna. While I do my shameless promotion and let everybody kind of stroll in here, we have a little bit of, I guess, lore to go through. So Wizardry IV is a particularly infamous dungeon crawler for a number of reasons. And it was by Surtech Software, released in 1987. And it was one of the poorest selling products in Surtech's history. But why? What happened? Why did it sell badly? Was it a bad game? What was the issue? Well, there were a couple issues. Wizardry III, The Legacy of Lilgamen, came out in 1983. So Wizardry IV, despite my completely legal, despite this file I completely legally acquired off of the internet, which labels it as 1986. I believe that's actually wrong. It is 1987. Development on Wizardry IV started basically right after Wizardry III, around November of 1984. Surtech was so confident they were going to have the game out by the end of 1984 that in a software magazine of the day, they told the people, who made the magazine, yeah, we have this ad. This ad says the game is available now because it's going to be available by the end of 1984. It was not, as we previously mentioned. You could say that prior to, Duke Nukem Forever, prior to Daikatana, prior to Final Fantasy 15, you could go on, basically name a video game nowadays that had a particularly troubled development. Wizardry 4 was one of the forebears of that. But why was that? Why did it take so long to come out? Well, there were a couple different reasons. First, Surtech, even in their heyday, they ran pretty lean. They were a pretty small company. In fact, they had only one real full-time programmer. His name was Robert Woodhead, which you can see on the screen here. I actually don't know if I'm capturing my mouse cursor. Give me a moment here. I am not capturing the mouse cursor. I think I actually want to capture the mouse cursor, at least for the moment. What? Oh. What? Can I not? How do I change that on the window capture? There we go. Okay. Capture cursor. Okay, I have capture cursor set, and it's not capturing my cursors because I don't have it focused. There we go. Okay, so Robert Woodhead, this guy here in the middle. He was their only real programmer, and the Wizardry series was big in its day in the US. However, Wizardry was absolutely huge in Japan. It was an absolute phenomenon. And furthermore, Robert Woodhead was what you would, in around about 2010, derisively refer to as a weeaboo. He loved Japan, and Japan loved him back, frankly. And so he, in the early to mid-80s, began to spend more and more time in Japan until eventually he just moved there full-time. And I believe he actually does, anime licensing stuff nowadays. I think that's his vocation now, and he's still kind of a minor celebrity in Japan. Again, he was their one real programmer, and he was now living in Japan, which, for a company based in the US, that was an issue in the 80s, because the internet was not really a thing at the time. There is not really the easy working remotely thing that you could do now. You couldn't really do that then, so they had to bring on, another programmer, and that delayed development. The other thing that delayed development were, let's say, internal squabbles about the game and what people wanted it to be. There was a faction within Surtech that basically, people apparently complained that Wizardry 1 through 3 were too easy, which is a complaint I don't understand. And I have seen places, comments on the internet basically saying, don't let people fool you. Nobody actually played Wizardry, quote unquote, fairly back in the day. They made multiple copies of their scenario discs or whatever. Because Wizardry was a permadeath game. And Wizardries 2 and 3 were permadeath games where you needed characters from Wizardry 1 to play them. Wizardry 2 and 3 would be more properly probably DLC nowadays. They wouldn't be full-fledged sequels. And indeed, they were not actually initially called Wizardry 2 and Wizardry 3. They were Wizardry the Second Scenario and Wizardry the Third Scenario, respectively. The second scenario was Knight of Diamonds, which was basically specifically for endgame characters from Wizardry 1, which, and you needed Wizardry 1 to even be able to play Wizardry 2 and 3. So that was kind of a defensible decision. Wizardry 1 was a hot product, give the people more of what they want. Fair enough. But then Wizardry 3 came out, and you also needed characters from Wizardry 1 to play Wizardry 3, and there was no particular need to do this, because when you imported the characters into Wizardry 3, they got reset. They were basically, storyline-wise, they were like the descendants of the characters from Wizardry 1. But, there was no reason you couldn't just create new characters in Wizardry 3. The game was balanced such that, effectively, the game was balanced such that you started back on level 1, maybe with some enhanced stats, but there is no reason to require imported characters from Wizardry 1, is what I am saying. Now, again, I mentioned this faction, this kind of, I don't want to say political game, but basically there were people in Surtech that wanted to make Wizardry 4 the hardest thing ever. Bar none. Norman Surtech, one of the main people who worked at Surtech, kind of thought they were going too far, and he was overruled. And so Wizardry 4, even by dungeon crawler standards, is infamously difficult, which we will get to here. Later, he said that Wizardry 4 was one of the poorest selling pieces of software in Surtech's history. The other reason it probably sold poorly is because Wizardry 4 came out in 1987. Hi, Mario. You cannot see him, but Mario the cat is here. Yeah, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to put you down here. And Wizardry 1 came out, obviously, in 1981 for the Apple II. And Wizardry 4 was slated to come out in 1984, didn't actually come out until 1987, but was basically still using the same tech, the same code base as Wizardry 1. It still looked like a game from 1981. I think this particular version I have has some kind of upscaling or something on it. Because it looks a lot smoother than I feel like it should, but either way, Mario, stay there. So that was probably another thing working against it. That and the ludicrous difficulty, which we will get to shortly. I don't think, actually, I'm going to get to any of the really, truly painful stuff that makes Wizardry 4 infamous, even among dungeon crawlers. But we'll get to some of it.